glad you can join us. Here's what we have for you this Monday. A Canadian airline suspends all flights to Cuba.
By the typical definition of what we think of as a failed state, Cuba is sort of on the cusp of it.
What travelers need to know about flying to the country in crisis.
Doesn't go to bed, he doesn't feel safe.
The mounting struggle for families forced from their homes.
This has been a dream of mine for so long, so I'm so proud of myself.
Plus, the Canadian soars to the podium in a high-flying sport.
CTV National News with Sandy Ronaldo.
Not a good situation in Cuba with power outages, food shortages, and now Air Canada is suspending all flights to the Caribbean island for the foreseeable future because of a scarcity of aviation fuel. Now, remember, Ottawa has issued a travel warning. CTV's Heather Wright on the airline's contingency plan and what you need to know if you're also still in Cuba. Heather.
Sandy, while Air Canada is suspending service to Cuba, the airline will operate empty flights over the coming days to bring travelers home.
Beginning Tuesday, jet fuel will no longer be available to international airlines in Cuba. The latest sign of the devastating impact the U.S. fuel blockade is having on the Caribbean nation.
We came to Cuba knowing what to expect. There's some things you'll have every day, some things you won't. I mean, that's a norm for here.
But what has been the norm is deteriorating quickly with widespread shortages of food, fuel, and medicine. Air Canada announced today it is suspending services to Cuba, focusing instead on repatriating the roughly 3,000 passengers who are still there. WestJet and Air Transat have not suspended service but have issued travel notices, allowing for free changes or cancellations. This all comes as Cuba experiences the worst economic crisis in nearly 70 years.
We don't get to see how it truly affects the Cuban life on the island.
For decades, Venezuela had been the primary source of oil for Cuba, a source that was cut off when the United States captured Venezuela's president in January. Then U.S. President Donald Trump said he would impose tariffs on any country that sells or provides oil to Cuba, further depleting its sources of fuel. Some experts say Cuba is on the brink.
By the typical definition of what we think of as a failed state, Cuba is sort of on the cusp of it.
The government has closed hotels in Veradero and is consolidating tourists to save on resources. Fuel sales are being limited while school and business hours have also been reduced.
Cuba has said it is open to negotiating a deal with the United States to end the oil blockade, while the country is also warning its citizens to prepare for hard times beyond what they are experiencing right now. Sandy.
All right, Heather, thank you. All right, now there are two second bronze medal for Canada captured today by Parry Sound, Ontario native Megan Oldham with an impressive rebound in free ski slopestyle. Call it a redemption Olympics for the 23-year-old. CTV's Scott Hurst has all the highlights on day 3 of the Milan Cortina Olympics. Scott.
Sandy, a podium finish for a Canadian athlete from Ontario who came oh so close to a medal at the last Olympic Winter Games.
This thing is really heavy. I think it's beautiful.
Canada's Megan Oldham is already loving life as an Olympic medalist. The 24-year-old from Parry Sound, Ontario, north of Toronto, soared to new heights on the biggest stage. With skis raised and medals around their necks, the top 3 making sure they got a podium selfie to freeze the moment in time.
Oh, I feel incredible. It still feels a bit like a dream.
Bronze in women's ski slopestyle and redemption for finishing just off the podium in big air at the Beijing Games 4 years ago. An Olympic accomplishment Oldham will never forget.
I'm so proud of myself for putting a run down and being able to get up on the podium and bring home a bronze for Canada.
Quebec's Naomi Ernest, who finished 7th in the ski slopestyle final, says it's an inspiration to watch her teammate on the podium.
Definitely seeing her success here really inspires me, and I'm so happy for her, and hopefully I can do the same one day or maybe in 4 years.
Expect to see both women compete in the big air competition as well later in the week. It was a close call for Quebec City's Beatrice Lamarche in the women's 1,000-meter speed skating final. The 27-year-old in her first Olympics was in the bronze medal position watching the final pair of skaters. Ultimately, the second-generation Olympian was bumped down to 5th, less than 1 second off the podium. Canada's medal count is now 2 as the first full week of competition is well underway. Bronze for Valerie Malte in long track speed skating on Saturday, and now a bronze for Megan Oldham in ski slopestyle. Sandy?
All right, Scott, thanks. A lot of talk today about the halftime show at the Super Bowl with headliner Bad Bunny, his shout out to Canada, Donald Trump's negative reviews, and of course, the Seattle Seahawks victory over the New England Patriots. CTV's BC Bureau Chief Andrew Johnson now on the big deal for BC's home NFL team. Andrew.
Yes, Sandy, it is indeed an exciting day for 12 North, as Seahawks fans in Canada are called. And there are a lot of them here in Vancouver, a 2.5-hour drive from the party in Seattle that likely still hasn't stopped. It was a Super Bowl-sized eruption in Seattle when their team won it all.
The Seahawks, Super Bowl champions for the second time.
The Gatorade spilled after a game that was anything but splashy.
The game wasn't very good.
A common complaint when defense is the star on the field, as it was for the Seahawks in shutting down the New England Patriots. But there was no lack of excitement at halftime. Puerto Rican superstar Bad Bunny, with the help of Ricky Martin, Lady Gaga, and incredibly elaborate set pieces, turned the show into a celebration of multicultural America, including an actual legal wedding ceremony and a shout out to every country in the Americas, including our own. Bad Bunny, who's been critical of Donald Trump and ICE, ended his plea for unity with the message, the only thing more powerful than hate is love. The U.S. president did not love the performance, calling it terrible, one of the worst ever, and a slap in the face. In Seattle, none of that mattered.
This is the best day of my life. The best day. Amazing day.
And in Vancouver as well, where the fans packed bars to cheer on their adopted home team. There are, in fact, thousands of Canadian Seahawks season ticket holders, the majority here in BC, and many will be crossing the border to celebrate in Seattle on Wednesday at the Super Bowl parade, where officials expect up to 1 million fans. Sandy.
Love the look, Andrew. Thank you. Now, also south of the border in Washington, D.C., Jeffrey Epstein, co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell, also appeared by video before a Republican oversight committee and invoked her Fifth Amendment rights. Maxwell refused to answer questions during the deposition. The former Epstein associate was found guilty in 2021 for her role in helping the disgraced financier sexually abuse teenage girls. She is serving a 20-year prison sentence. Now, the King was heckled today in an appearance in the UK with a person in the crowd shouting about the Epstein files and his brother, the former Prince Andrew.
Charles, how long have you known about Andrew and Epstein?
Charles has stripped his younger brother of his titles and removed him from his Windsor residence. Newly released emails suggest that Andrew maintained regular contact with Epstein after he was found guilty of child sex crimes. And the Prince and Princess of Wales have weighed in on the scandal in their first public statement. William and Catherine did not directly address Andrew, but are said they are, quote, deeply concerned and are focused on the victims. Andrew Mountbatten, Windsor, continues to deny any wrongdoing. Alleged wrongdoing within the ranks of Toronto's police force has eroded public trust. Now an investigation has been launched into all Ontario police services. CTV's Siobhan Morris picks up this story for us.
This is a sweeping top-to-bottom review of policing in Ontario. All of the municipal services, as well as Ontario Provincial Police, are going to be examined. The catalyst is Project South, an investigation that involved Toronto Police. It includes shocking allegations of conspiracy to commit murder, bribery, and drug trafficking. 7 current and 1 former Toronto police officer are among those facing charges.
Incidents like these, understandably, shake public trust in policing more broadly. It's important to acknowledge the real questions the public is asking and the potential effect these questions may have on their confidence in Ontario's policing system.
An outside investigator to be named later will be dedicated solely to this review. Toronto's police chief is welcoming this broader lens.
I'll be seeking the suspension without pay for 6 of the 7 members who have been alleged to have committed criminal offenses. We have also deployed additional supervision to where we need to.
Right now, there's no timeline for that review of police services to be completed. Siobhan Morris, CTV News, Toronto.
A Canadian mining company, Vancouver-based Vizsla Silver, has confirmed that some of the workers who were abducted from a site in Mexico have been found dead. The abduction of the 10 workers, which took place in the state of Sinaloa, prompted a local search. The office of the Mexican Attorney General says 4 people have been arrested. The mining firm says it is waiting for more information before providing an update. Well, American television host Savannah Guthrie has released a new video saying her family is at an hour of desperation as they wait word of her missing mother.
We believe our mom is still out there. We need your help.
84-year-old Nancy Guthrie has been missing for 9 days. The reported ransom deadline allegedly set by the suspected kidnappers was this evening. A local media outlet which received one of the ransom letters says the abductors are demanding $6 million US in Bitcoin. And an update on a northern Ontario community where water has been a crisis for decades. Families now scattered in hotels across the province because of a parasite in the drinking water, wondering when they can return. CTV's Adrian Gobrio sat down with one family.
That's where I live.
Evacuated on January 10th, this Kingston, Ontario hotel room is now the Stephen family's temporary home.
There's not enough room for us or for the baby.
On January 25th, little Axelson was born 1 month early. The family are also navigating the special needs of their older children. 12-year-old AJ is on the autism spectrum. His 3-year-old sister, Shirley Ann, is also on the spectrum and has been diagnosed with ADHD. There's also 2-year-old Bryce.
They're really out of their comfort zone, especially my son that's 12 years old. Doesn't go to bed, he doesn't feel safe.
Kashechewan First Nation is located on a floodplain on the west side of James Bay in northern Ontario. On January 4th, a state of emergency was declared there amid concerns that sewage was seeping through taps into homes, contaminating drinking water. 2 weeks ago, test results revealed a parasite known as Cryptosporidium was found in water samples and is likely the cause of dozens of people becoming ill.
She got sick, yes. She got sick.
Contaminated drinking water has plagued this community for decades. In 2005, residents were forced to evacuate. CTV News was in Kashechewan then and found multiple children with rashes believed to be brought on by water contamination. More than 20 years later, children are still believed to be suffering. Just days before this latest water crisis was declared, a similar rash broke out all over the body of 2-year-old Bryce Stephen. For decades, Indigenous leaders have asked the federal government to help relocate this community from the water plain it resides on. They're still waiting.
I hope the government sees this. I hope they all see.
A statement in part from Indigenous Services Canada says planning for the relocation of Kashechewan First Nation continues under an agreement that dates back to 2019. For these children, yet another evacuation has left the village that used to help raise them, scattered in hotel rooms across the province, with no clear timeline for when they'll find their way home. Some we've spoken with say they're triggered every time they turn on the tap. Following decades of trauma, they don't trust the water. Not here, not in Kashechewan, not anywhere. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Kingston, Ontario.
Coming up, anxiety and uncertainty.
It is nice to know that we are not alone.
A Greenland community speaks to CTV about friendly support and looming threats. The official cause of death for Canadian-born comic actor Katherine O'Hara has been revealed. O'Hara died from a pulmonary embolism related to cancer. That's when a blood clot blocks an artery in the lungs. The beloved actress played numerous memorable characters over the years, appearing in Schitt's Creek, Beetlejuice, and famously playing Macaulay Culkin's mother in the first 2 Home Alone movies. She died on January the 30th. Katherine O'Hara was 71. Denmark's foreign minister says the crisis over American threats to take over Greenland isn't over. CTV News has been on the ground in the capital of the autonomous Danish territory to learn what that means to the people who live there. Here's CTV's Abigail Beatman.
The difference between Canada and our way of thinking is not so different.
David Rugolds and his wife, Bibi Chemnitz, run this brand and store of the same name and launched what's become a popular T-shirt in the wake of Donald Trump's threats.
Overall general feeling in Greenland is that we cannot be bought.
Like many we spoke with in Nuuk, he is happy with the increased support of countries like Canada, newly opening a consulate.
Even though our T-shirt says we're not for sale, we're open for business with everybody, like Canada, France, US. But we're not selling anything from off our country. They can buy fish, they can buy clothes, they can buy minerals if they buy license, but not the country.
Here on the streets in Nuuk, many are reluctant to share their opinions about international relations. There's been an overwhelming amount of international attention here, and some think that's a good thing, with more people visiting and learning about Greenland.
It is nice to know that we are not alone.
Do you feel still worried about threats from the United States?
50-50.
American.
It's dangerous and afraid for her. But I hope it still will be good.
Though there has been progress, say Greenland and Denmark's foreign ministers, it's still too early to know where talks with the U.S. administration will land in what they are still calling a crisis. Abigail Beatman, CTV News, Nuuk, Greenland.
Still ahead, a natural attraction, the chilling effect that comes with the ice cold. This has been an extra cold and snowy winter in parts of southern Ontario, and the chill in the air has created a new attraction of sorts. CTV's John Venevali-Rao is in Niagara Falls. Hey, John, tell us about the unique sights.
Sandy, here at Niagara Falls, the falling temperatures of late have had an upside. The falls were already one of the world's most iconic natural wonders, a spectacular sight, made all the more incredible by the deep freeze.
It's just unbelievable.
Ice encasing parts of the falls, turning them into a winter wonderland.
You gotta hate the weather, but you gotta find the beauty in it too, right?
With tourists willing to put up with downright frigid temperatures to see the falls transformed.
There's no Maid in the Mist here today because it's packed with ice.
After more than 3 weeks straight of below zero temperatures, ice has been building up amid the longest cold snap to hit Ontario in more than a decade.
Sustained cold temperatures, we're seeing minus 10, minus 15. In fact, last night was minus 20.
The falls haven't completely frozen over. The powerful flow of the water is still too strong for that. But the ice around the falls is the most seen since 2015. The waters here have only stopped completely once before in 1848 because of an ice jam. But other severe winters have seen partial freezes, where people have even ventured out onto the ice.
To imagine all that water freezing is just how cold the temperatures have been.
Shows you how cold it is.
And it's been so cold this winter, the Great Lakes are now more than half frozen over, with Lake Erie a whopping 95% ice covered, and it could freeze over for the first time in 3 decades. A massive crack formed over the weekend that could be seen from space, and winds have pushed huge sheets of ice onto the shore, creating massive mountains of ice. At the falls, there's been a surge of tourists.
Sometimes some will say to us this is their favorite time to see Niagara Falls because this is unique to see ice conditions like this.
And while it is expected to reach 1 degree here tomorrow and a slight warm-up is on the way, so much ice is built up around here they expect it to last for many, many weeks to come.
Wow, John,
Sandy.
Thanks. It looks like Antarctica. Thanks for this. As we head to break, just because the Olympic Games are underway doesn't mean that the schoolwork stops. One Canadian Olympian had to ask for help. McMaster University posted these images from figure skater and student athlete Madeline Skizis. She sent this note to her professor saying she mixed up when the project was due and hoped she could get an extension, seeing that she's competing in the Olympics. The professor granted the reprieve, calling it a special moment, adding the whole country is rooting for her and her teammates. All right. After the break, trading souvenirs and stories while collecting memories and making friends in Milan. While athletes compete for medals at the Winter Games, serious collectors are competing for pins, and it's big business. CTV's Garrett Barry got a lesson in the art of the deal.
An Olympic morning in Milan means, of course, competition. To these victors, the spoils, an exclusive city pin. To many others, broken hearts if they arrived too late for the prize.
Yes, we are trying this, but it's not going great for now. We don't have any pins for now.
The quest for Milan's perfect pin will take you all over the city. Each day here, there's a scavenger hunt of sorts where the city's tourism information board posts a new location in the morning, and pin collectors congregate here to try to get a chance at a limited edition giveaway. This morning in Milan's Navigli district, people waited hours for the small souvenir.
Well, they're giving them out and it's kind of a hunt for them, so it makes it fun.
Because I live in Milan, quindi I want these pins, all pins.
I love pins. I don't know, I love putting them on my clothes and it's an easy accessory.
Some have been doing this for decades. Meet Thomas Rondi, a pin collector for 14 Olympic Games running, with the hardware to show.
It's really interesting. People have so much fun at it, and it's not really official yet for the Olympics, and we're in a club called the Olympian, and we're trying to literally get it part of the Olympics officially.
You'll find him anywhere in this city, always open for pin trading business. Even CTV anchor Heather Butts got in on the action.
This is the Paralympic Winter Games from Vancouver 2010.
The deal done.
We'll do that trade, and then you trade, and then you have fun, and you say thank you very much.
But there's more business to do. Rondi says each Olympic city starts a little cold, but towards the end of the games, it's a full-on frenzy to get your favorite pin while you can. Garrett Barry, CTV News in Milan.
Good for you, Heather. And thank you for sharing your time with us. I'm Sandy Ronaldo. Bye for now. We'll see you tomorrow.
CTV National News, Canada's #1 newscast.